Assalamu alaikum students. Today we will discuss role of T cells in third line of defense. T cells and B cells are the cells which are involved in third line of defense. T cells they produce a kind of response which is called as cell mediated immune response. T cells, they are produced inside the stem cells of bone marrow. Stem cells are those cells which differentiate are into T cells, and T cells later on they migrate to thymus gland for further maturation, and they become what immunocomponent. Now why do we call them immunocomponent? Because these cells they are capable of immunological response, and kind of response or immune response provided by T cell is called as what? Cell mediated immune response. Now we will discuss types of T cells. There are two groups of T cells with reference to the surface proteins present on them. First group is called as CD8 cells, and the other one is CD4 cells. Students, CD8 cells, they are having receptor proteins on them which are called as CD8 proteins. C stands for cluster and D for differentiation, means through which we can differentiate them from the other cells, and the other kind of cells we call them what? CD4 cells. Now CD8 cells, they are of two kinds. One cytotoxic T cells, and the other one are suppressor T cells, while CD4 cells are also called as what? Helper T cells. Students, when helper T cells they get activated, they get differentiated into four types of cells, which are number one, cytotoxic T cells, number two, helper T cells, number three, suppressor T cells, and number four, memory T cells. uh, Cytotoxic T cells, they are called so because they produce a protein which is called as cytotoxin. This cytotoxin protein is a harmful chemical which triggers destruction of the pathogen's DNA, and they also release another kind of protein which is called as porphyrin. This protein, it can punch holes in the pathogen's plasma membrane. The holes cause the pathogen to lyse or to rupture, and student the other kind of cells which are produced by helper T cells by their further cell division, by their further cell division, they also produce some other helper T cells which can produce a protein called as interleukin 2, and which stimulate division of T and B cells, excuse me, which can stimulate division of T and B cells. And student like in other words, these cells they recruit even more cells to help fight the pathogens. And number three cells, they are called as what? Suppressor T cells. When infection is successfully removed, these cells begin to secrete certain proteins that inhibit further proliferation of T cells, and therefore they shut down the immune response. And another category of helper T cells are memory T cells. Students, these cells they actually remain dormant after the initial exposure to an antigen, and if the same antigen even of that presents itself into the body, Then even after a number of years, the memory cells are stimulated and to convert themselves into helper T cells and help to fight against that very pathogen. So you can say they prevent your body from a reinfection. So this is all about types of T cells and their formation. Thank you, students.